that time frame.
It's in the first month.
Yeah, in the first month. Yeah. So if later you read all of 9 and 10 and 11, or read a good portion of this, you'll see how it ties together very readily. This 21 days is of the first month. You have Gabriel doing principally the speaking here, but I wanted to bring out this feature of a war that's related to a spiritual war that's taking place all around us. They're not allowed in here. They're not allowed to harm us. They're not allowed to do anything that can knock us off the course we're on. They can be used for trials, because they know us, probably better than we know ourselves. They have a spiritual understanding and access to us 24 hours a day. And they can go before God and say, well, I'm going to do this to them. They're only following you because you... See, they can't claim that about us. Well, they're only following you because you give us good health and wealth. I don't think so. If there is, there's not much evidence of it. Most of us have poor health and less than zero wealth. So, which was a statement, a declaration against Job. I only follow you because you made him a zillionaire. Bill Gates, Job. Well, that was Satan's accusation. So this is what's going on behind the scenes. Okay, verse 21. I will tell you what is inscribed in the writing of truth, yet there is no one who stands firmly with me against these forces except Michael. So here you have another archangel. Now an archangel is a master angel. That's what that means, the wording. So there's angels, meaning messengers, archangels who are master angels. So these are heads of the Elohim, is what that word means. Did I miss the first month? Where did I miss that? Was that verse 9?
No, it's verse 4.
Okay, yeah. Let me just scan over it. Yes, sorry. So on the 24th day, he's at the Tigris praying. But the point I was trying to make was this 3 entire weeks of the first month covers the 21 days to the conclusion of the days of unleavened bread. Now, he wasn't keeping the Passover, or it doesn't indicate that, or the Lord's Supper, the Shagiga meal, because he wasn't eating meat or drinking wine. But he was in mourning, thinking they're about to be destroyed. That's the end of Israel. So that was how David was dealing with the circumstances. He wasn't with a body of Jews or a body of covenant keepers anyway. Right? He had a few of his friends that are termed friends that he made contact with business-wise. But that's how he was dealing with his unfortunate circumstances as he saw it. He was in mourning 21 days of the first month. So it's pretty clear that this process starts on the new moon, fast on the 7th day, cleansing of the Lord's Supper on the 14th day, and the conclusion of the days of unleavened bread, and getting our thinking processes cleaned up as well as our feet washed, so that when we leave here we've got more ammunition and more armor, right, to hold our ground. They can only do so much to you, but it doesn't feel like it when things are going badly. It feels like, but really we're fairly well protected. It would just be nice to have a bit more wealth and a bit more health. So that's our usual request, but there's the reasons we are in the circumstances we're in are as evidence to this fallen host that is raising havoc. And they would destroy humanity if they could tonight. And they wouldn't do it nicely. There's a spirit war going on like there now. And that's quite a statement I found, that only Michael is standing with Gabriel. Now, we don't know how many these powerful spirit beings they are. Satan has the ultimate authority over them for the time being until he's taken out, leading the rebellion. But just to keep that in mind as you go, it ends up in the remainder of it, if you just cover it from verse 9 to 11, end of 11, you have a basic overview. So we've always done this for 21 days with that sort of understanding in mind. People have objected because he didn't eat, drink wine, or eat meat, therefore he couldn't have been keeping the Passover. Well, in his circumstances, he did the best he could, and he was in mourning, and that's how he dealt with it. He still, even if he did it wrong, he's a man of high esteem. And master angels are sent to him to clarify visions for him. So it's a bit of a step to be accusing Daniel of too much wrong. But anyway, all of this relates to his understanding of these visions and the plan of God, because the prince of Persia is assaulting him, the Elohim of Greece, the spirit being responsible for the Greece, the nation of the Greeks, is assaulting him. And it's in Ezekiel or maybe Jeremiah, 2 or 3 other places where you have a prophet's vision open up so they could see. He was afraid, right, because he saw this assault by a spiritual horde that was going to come and get him. And I think that was Gabriel in that case too, said, oh no, look. And he opened up his vision so he could see the forces that were on his, Ezekiel's side. Ezekiel standing there with this horde about to assault him. And so it's been given to us to see that to a degree. But we all understand it's a spiritual war. But it is a real war. A real war. That, it may have had the effect of almost destroying all of the physical creation except this planet was left alive. Satan was put on it for this reason, to go through the 6,000 years. So, we have so much trouble with when the moon turns up and things, that we're not told a lot of these spiritual concepts. But they seem pretty clear. The difficulty is you have to tie so much of stuff together from about 20 parts in Scripture. It's just sometimes a bit of work. But I think you'll find the more you do it, and the more you follow the process of sanctification to its conclusion, every year you should come away with better understanding. I don't know if a couple that have just done it for a year or two now could comment later after we're done here. Okay. The biggest peace of mind we should all have is God's plan of reconciliation for all of His creation. God is going to reconcile all of it. Whether we conclude they deserve it or not. I wouldn't reconcile Satan. He's just too much trouble. He's just done too much damage. Where's the button? I'll push it. Fortunately for everybody, I'm not God, right? Because that would be our conclusion. This person's too evil, and these ones are nice, as if you know what's really in their heart. You haven't got a clue what's in people's heart. And the best-looking types can sometimes be the worst. And the roughest, worst ones can end up like Noah and Daniel. So it's very hard for us to assess it. Only God can do it. He says, here's what I take out of it anyway. He doesn't have to save anybody. Nobody. So nobody has an entitlement to anything. He declares it's His will. Romans 11:25. I do not want you, therefore, brethren, to be uninformed of this mystery. So this is one of the mysteries of God. Lest you become wise in your own estimation, that a partial hardening has happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles has come in. So exactly as the discussion with Paul and the others, that the Gentile will come into Israel, part of spiritual Israel. Part of physical Israel will be left aside, be pruned, and some of these uncircumcised Gentiles will be priests. They'll be the Melchizedek priesthood, whether the Jews like it or not. Why? Because the circumcision is spiritual and spiritually applied, and I would conclude at the restitution that the circumcision covenant will be reinstituted for the physical components for what happens in the millennium. But not for what's gone on for 40 Jubilees. It's all spiritually based, and it's not properly understood. But they've come in, and it's a great multitude. So there's 144,000 from physical Israel in the temple. Dan appears to have lost 6,000, and Manasseh appears to have gained 6. So Manasseh, half of Joseph, has gone from 6,000 to 12,000. Dan has gone from 12 to 6 and accompanies Ephraim in Joseph. So if anyone tells you that God lost Dan, that's, well, he must be incompetent. God didn't lose anybody. Never mind the whole tribe of Israel. So because I know people get told that, so just keep that in mind. Verse 26, all Israel will be saved. So it says all Israel, but maybe it doesn't really mean all Israel. It means just the nice guys of Israel. So that's Romans 11:26. It says all of physical Israel will be saved. So here in 1 Timothy 2:4, God who desires that all men to be saved and come to